On Billboard tonight, dinosaurs in Grimsby, a legend of folk music, and how to become a published author with an international literary prize. Welcome to Billboard with me, Ted Stanley, for our monthly roundup of arts and entertainment in East Yorkshire and Lincolnshire. In our new feature for 2023, we look back at some of our most popular guests over the last 6 years and ask, where are they now?
Kinda creepy, just go away. Stop stalking my Facebook profile every day, you're annoying. Just get the hint. I don't like you, stop sending me all your Snapchat pics, I won't reply. You never will. Stop talking to me.
So Rachel, welcome to Billboard, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you've had a really busy summer with your music this year. What's been happening?
Yeah, so I've been trying to get myself on the radios, into festivals, little performances at pubs, contacted you guys, just trying to kind of promote my music that I'm really trying to go for this summer.
But you've just graduated from university and you're going on to do a master's degree.
Yeah.
So what's the most important thing? Is it your music or your education, or what you're going to make a career from?
I want to make a career in music, but I have my degree as a backup because, well, I've got my degree in cell biology, which is my favourite subject anyway, it's biology.
Yeah.
So.
That's a very sensible approach for a musician.
My parents helped me, they're like, get your degree first. Got it.
And if you really thought we could be, you really thought we could be, we won't. It was dead, it was dead, it was dead, it was dead, it was dead. Cause that kiss meant nothing to me, it meant nothing to me, nothing to me.
One of your songs, This Kiss Means Nothing to Me.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. How did
that
come
one.
about?
So that one was when, so you've broken up with somebody and you're trying to like see other people. So you go out and you meet someone, you might kiss, but in the back of your head you're like, oh no, I still love that other person, so it didn't really mean anything. And I was just like, write a song about that.
But you do a lot of breakup songs.
Yeah, I've got a couple of them. It's just when you have so much passion and energy, you need to get it out. And if you can try and make something out of it, then you should go for that.
So when you need to write a song, do you just ask your boyfriend to break up with you?
I would never ask that again.
Nothing to me. Nothing to me.
Okay, and probably your most controversial song is Bruises, right? How did Bruises come about?
Bruises is when, well, you know, emotional pain from a breakup, and say they do something that you're not happy with, but you're just like, I'll put it to the back of my head, it doesn't matter. So that song was like metaphorical. If you have bruises, you can see, like, no, you shouldn't be with that person. So I was singing around my flat, the chorus came to me, and then I was just like, okay, next day, get some verses down, started playing it.
I mean, it's literary, very clever. I mean, it's got a lot of subtext to it, because what you're saying is not what you mean, and that sort of thing. So it's a really, really clever song, but very much appealing to the people of your age. So that's good. So what are your plans for your music? You've written quite a few songs now. Are you planning to put them together and maybe do an album?
So I want to hopefully create a little album with the songs that I've got.
Okay.
If I can get myself in a recording studio somehow, somewhere, would be great.
And I think you're hoping to do that this year, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm hoping to.
So
I know the university that I'm going to go to does have a studio.
Okay, great, Well, we'll look forward to hearing that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been great to meet you, particularly in this beautiful hometown of yours in Beverley. And we'll look forward to hearing you at some of the festivals later this year.
Yeah, thank you.
Come on, hit me harder. I want bruises all over my skin.
We first met this talented young singer-songwriter from Beverley back in 2017 when she was writing and recording her own music and busking in her town square. Rachel has since collaborated on theme songs for the Hammond House International Literary Prize and performed at the annual literary festival in Grimsby, as well as continuing to write and record her own music. Rachel will be performing live at the Beverley Folk Festival on the 16th of June, along with Hannah Mule, the Magpies and Katie Spencer. From music to literature now, and a review of the latest book releases with journalist and broadcaster Hugh Richards.
Thanks, Ted. Quite a crop this month, including 2 Booker Prize winners who, unusually, really deserved it. The first, Margaret Atwood, is old school, having won twice in 2000 and 2019. Most writers are best known through their writing, but I suspect Atwood would be even better drinking Canada dry. Old Babes in the Wood is a collection of 15 short stories with her usual wide range of themes: misremembered past, a confused snail, long-term love, the risk of witchcraft, and George Orwell. Sceptical, optimistic, wry and humane, Atwood never disappoints. That title, though, Old Babes in the Wood. Be careful when you Google it. Eleanor Catton is a quarter of a century younger than Atwood. She won the Booker in 2009 for The Luminaries. Now she offers Birnam Wood, a nod to Macbeth, but this is certainly not a tale told by an idiot. It is about guerrilla gardening, bandit horticulturists who work outside the law at night and in secret to leave beauty where authority denies it. Their survival depends on an ambitious, ruthless man of power. Seem familiar? And whether they can reach their own Dunsinane. Catton can proudly and rightly hold the same honours as Atwood. Talking of Macbeth, politics is so disastrous that it is comforting to assume, to pretend that there is some deep state genius that keeps government on track, a secret group of wise and responsible adults, Sir Humphrey, Mycroft Holmes, who keep the political children from real harm. We hope they are in a meritocratic civil service. Ian Dunt destroys those hopes in How Westminster Works and Why It Doesn't. He despises most politicians and some civil servants, pointing out that the institutions that should constrain and guide individuals are themselves fragile and failing. For instance, the old civil service trick of offering a minister 1 good option and 3 absurd options no longer works because the ministers choose the absurdities. Liz Truss, apparently, would consistently and humorously choose the most farcical. Dunt does not suggest that politicians are dishonest or malicious. Their failure is always cock-up rather than conspiracy. This is persuasive and depressing, but perhaps we still have some wise, responsible individuals constraining crazy government. I hope they're called judges. Billy and the Giant Adventure is a charming children's story by Jamie Oliver, a chef. He's been on telly, so this will sell well. I'd be interested to see his first draft, if he wrote one. I suspect he writes like I cook. That's it, Ted. Looking forward to coming months when, like the rest of us, the publishing industry warms up a little. I hope.
Thank you, Hugh. In other literary news, the Hammond House International Literary Prize is already attracting entries from around the world, hoping for success in the top prize winners and publication in the annual anthologies. This year's theme is fate, and writers can enter any or all of the 4 categories: short stories, poetry, scripts or songs. The window for entries remains open until the 30th of September. Time for more music now, with Kirsty's choice of some of the best live gigs around the region.
Singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist Hattie Briggs is part of the Music Nights collection at Caister Arts and Heritage Centre on May the 12th. Discovered by platinum-selling singer Alfie Boe while busking at Paddington Station, Hattie has released several EPs and 2 critically acclaimed albums, including Young Runaway, described by music critics as an epic masterpiece. Inhabiting the netherworld where pop, folk, new wave and punk collide, the Proclaimers, twin brothers Craig and Charlie Reid, have enjoyed huge global success and continue to appeal across the generations since their debut album, This Is the Story, was released 35 years ago. You can catch them on their biggest and best UK tour at Hull City Hall on the 21st of May. The London Film Music Orchestra are paying an immersive tribute to the iconic music of Hans Zimmer and John Williams in the enchanting candlelit setting of Hull Minster on Friday the 5th of May. Enjoy some of cinema's most iconic music, beautifully performed by a live chamber orchestra, including E.T., Jurassic Park, Harry Potter and Memoirs of a Geisha. The annual Cleethorpes Folk and Cider Festival takes place at the lakeside over the bank holiday weekend, starting on Saturday the 27th of May. Cider aplenty and live music by a range of unique and talented folk artists from across the country, playing well into the evening. And finally, you can see the spellbinding acoustic live show of Kiki D and Camillo Liguri at the Rope Walk in Barton on Friday the 12th of May. The performance will feature tracks from their brand new studio album, The Long Ride Home, a collection of haunting, emotional and stunning songs, including Don't Go Breaking My Heart, Amaruse and She's Smiling Now.
All her barriers, all her demons.
I've worked in care on and off for 18 years now. I enjoy it so much. You know, I'm making a real difference to people's lives. It's so rewarding.
I'd encourage people to definitely come in to this sector. I wouldn't do anything else now.
Well, it's a very rewarding job. You're making a difference to people's lives.
I love my job. I think it's a very demanding job, but the outcomes do outweigh that.
I laugh, I smile, I cry with the clients, so they become a part of the family.
Going out and changing their lives, but then they change yours at the same time. It's a lot more rewarding than I thought.
Coming up on tonight's show, we meet a legend of the folk world and Jules Holland performs in Box Office. But first, here's actress and broadcaster Liz Drury with a review of some of the latest film releases.
Gareth, do you recognise this girl?
Yes.
What's her name?
On Film Review tonight, Hollywood splendour in Polite Society and a classic coming-of-age story. But first, The Artifice Girl, an elegant and poignant sci-fi morality tale from writer-director Franklin Rich that asks profound questions about humanity's responsibility to the creation and development of AI. The stage is set for difficult questions that evolve over time and an important shifting of perspectives. A team of special agents discovers a revolutionary new computer program to bait and trap online predators. After teaming up with the program's troubled developer, they soon find that the AI is rapidly advancing beyond its original purpose. Cherry begins life as general AI, as close to a living entity and independent intellect as is conceivable. But is she bound by the parameters of her initial design?
Do you want to tell us the truth?
Cherry isn't human.
No more secrets.
Hello, Cherry.
Based on Judy Blume's groundbreaking novel, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, is a timeless coming-of-age story with insightful humour and candid exploration of life's biggest questions. In this Lionsgate big screen adaptation, 11-year-old Margaret, played by Abby Ryder Fortson, is uprooted from her life in New York City for the suburbs of New Jersey, where she goes through the messy and tumultuous throes of puberty with new friends in a new school. She relies on her mother, Barbara, who's also struggling to adjust to life outside the big city, and her adoring grandmother, Sylvia, who isn't happy they moved away and likes to remind them every chance she gets.
Gets tiring. Trying so hard all the time, doesn't it?
I don't know if I want to do this, just that we're ready. Please, God, let it be a lady. Do you think any of us will look like that when we're 19? We must increase our costs!
Writer-director Nida Manzoor's Polite Society is a merry mashup of Bollywood splendour and wry British humour. A quirky story of female empowerment that follows martial artist in training Rhea Khan, who believes she must save older sister Lena from her impending marriage. After enlisting the help of her friends, Rhea attempts to pull off the most ambitious of all wedding heists in the name of independence and sisterhood.
Rude.
Mom, what are you doing? Oh.
We stick to the plan. Nothing changes.
We are going to show Lena who these people really are.
Let's decimate this
Our family film tonight is the Super Mario Brothers movie, an animated adventure based on the classic video game featuring two of the most recognisable characters in popular culture. A thin plot is packed full of nostalgic Mario references for all ages, and it's fun to see these colourful worlds on the big screen as Mario travels through an underground labyrinth with his brother Luigi trying to save a captured princess.
With a lot of galaxies. They're all counting on us. No pressure.
On DVD and Blu-ray, The Stranger by the Shore, Twixt and Babylon are also worth a look.
Best-selling author Tracy Baines finds inspiration for her stories from her childhood in Cleethorpes.
The books are set in the theatre, in that square mile that I played as a child with the Empire Theatre, the Pier, and then just weave a story about a girl that comes from Norfolk and she appears in a summer show and what happens to her after that.
Her latest book in the Seaside Girl series is out now. In September 2019, Kirsty and I had the privilege of meeting one of our folk heroes, a talented singer-songwriter from Santa Barbara, California, who in 1964 would become the first solo folk singer to be signed by a major record label.
I'd rather be a sparrow than a snake. Yes, I would. If I only could, I surely would.
Bringing folk music to a wider audience and paving the way for the popularity of people like Joan Baez, Bob Dylan and Paul Simon. In the 60s and 70s, she featured on the avant-garde TV show The Frost Report before starring in her own TV series. We caught up with this 80-year-old legend in the summer of 2019 at the recording studios where she was laying down a track for her new album after playing a live gig the night before. At the time, we didn't know this would be her last public interview as she died a few months later. Last month was the 3rd anniversary of her passing, and tonight we pay tribute to this legend of folk.
I walk the winter's beach, I've so little to remember. The year is growing old, already it's December.
So, Julie, thanks for joining us on Billboard today. You first came to England in the 60s,
Yes.
1964?
Yeah, I think I actually came in 63, and my first album was released in 64.
Okay. But before that, you've been touring Europe?
Well, I was kind of a, you know, just a beatnik. I was just wandering around. I wasn't actually counting on being a professional singer. I just sort of ran out of money, and so I started singing in bars and restaurants and sort of made my way around. And then and I came to visit a friend in London, and then some Scottish folk singers that I met in Germany took me along to a folk club, and I sang some songs, and there was a guy called Bruce Dunnett, and he made a tape, and he took it to David Platts at Essex Music, and David took it to Hugh Mendel at Decca Records, and they just sort of talked to me, and it was when Baez and Dylan were kind of, you know, coming to the fore, and I was the first folk singer to sign with a major label, so that sort of like opened up the future.
The whole world of folk for people, yeah.
I'm not lonely. I'm not lonely. I'm not lonely.
I think one of your early influences, not so much for your music, but your lifestyle, was some of the beat poets like Jack Kerouac.
Yeah, I mean, that was why I kind of wanted to travel. It was definitely Jack Kerouac on the road that influenced me to just go and taste life, you know, because growing up in Southern California, I was kind of isolated. I'd been to Mexico to see my family, my grandparents, but I'd never been to anywhere else. So I just wanted to go to Europe and see the rest of the world.
Now, I understand your father was a big early influence on your music.
Yes, well, my father was born and raised in Mexico, in Sonora, and he came to the States in his late teens. And he became a mariachi musician, and he could play the guitar, the accordion, and the piano. But he always played music, and he taught me. Well, my mother gave me a ukulele once, and I started the ukulele. I couldn't play it, so my dad taught me to play that. And then when I was in high school, I was 17, and somebody wanted me to accompany them on the guitar, and so I asked my dad to show me the other two strings, you know, and so he taught me, and then I started playing, and I play at parties and fun, you know. People would say, "Come to my party and bring your guitar." So I became quite popular with the parties when I was at university.
While the young people's blood flows out of their bodies and's lost in the mud, you've thrown the worst fear.
And of course, those sort of influences were there in you know, your most well-known record and hit in If I Could, which I think everyone remembers you for.
Yeah, that was the first record I made with Mickey Most. It was really,
at DKA.
It was really. It was great working with him. I really, before that, I was just put in a little box and told to sing, you know, and then they all the musicians. And Mickey brought me into the mixing room and listened to different tracks, and it was before all the digital stuff, so you had to do a mix, you know, like and I was like mixing it, and it was so exciting.
I'd rather be a hammer than a nail. Yes, I would. If I only could, I surely would.
In other entertainment news, Gemma Lidgard reviews some of the best shows from around the region in box office.
Cheers, Ted. So, starting us off at Skegness Embassy Theatre on the 20th of May is Jules Holland and his Rhythm and Blues Orchestra, with special vocalists Ruby Turner and Louise Marshall. Pianist, bandleader, singer, composer, television presenter and multi-platinum recording artist Jules Holland returns with special guests accompanied by the sound of Jules's unforgettable Rhythm and Blues Orchestra. Over at the Grimsby Auditorium on the 15th of May is Dragons and Mythical Beasts. Enter into a magical world of myths and legends in this fantastical new interactive show for all the family. Come face to face with some of the most magnificent monsters and terrifying beasts ever to walk the earth. Discover the Tooth Fairy, but not as sweet as you'd think, an adorable unicorn and a majestic griffin. At Hull New Theatre on the 6th of May is The King and I, the multi-award-winning Broadway production of Rodgers and Hammerstein's The King and I returns to the UK following its critically acclaimed sold-out season at the London Palladium. On the 25th of May at the Bath Hall in Scunthorpe is an evening of magic with Richard Jones. Richard, who rose to fame as the only magician to ever win Britain's Got Talent. Known as the military illusionist, he represents the very best in cutting-edge magic, mind reading and psychological illusion to create a unique experience you will never forget. And finally, over at Bridlington Spa on the 29th of May is Rave On, the 50s and 60s musical sensation that is sweeping the nation. Charting the meteoric rise of rock and roll, Rave On is a thrilling tour through music's most revolutionary decades.
Things that you say and do make me want to be with you. Rave on, it's a crazy feeling, and I know it's got me reeling when you say I love you. Rave on, rave on, rave on. Tell me not to be lonely. Tell me you love me only. Rave on to me.
Well, that's almost all for tonight's show. You can keep up to date with the latest news on our Facebook page. And to make sure you don't miss any of our programmes, click the subscribe button below. If you have a story you would like us to feature on Billboard, email details to news@billboardtv.uk. From everyone on the Billboard team, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again in May for the Elvis tribute, Ben Portsmouth, and more entertaining news, entertaining guests, and great music.
I'd rather be a sparrow than a snake. Yes, I would. If I only could, I surely would. I'd rather be a hammer than a nail. Yes, I would. If I only could, I surely would. Away, I'd rather sail away like a swan that's here and gone. A man gets tired to the ground. He gives the world its saddest sound, its saddest sound. I'd rather be a forest than a stream.